For the athletes, if you've missed this morning's coverage, we had some fantastic gold medals going all around the world, underlining the global reach of this sport of canoe sprint. Joining me in the commentary, my name's Ross Solly, by the way, is South African paddler Esti Oliver. Esti, lovely of you to come back and join me for this afternoon. 5,000 metres, exciting racing.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, especially with this new format, short laps with the Portage. So Zeged last 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch. So I'm very keen to see what Poznan has to offer, whether the athletes have sharpened up their skills a little bit.
So as we mentioned, picture perfect weather. There's a little bit of a breeze out there. Did you get to test it during the lunch break? Which way is the breeze coming now? Is it still
It still seems like a bit of a headwind, but it does look like it's calmed down slightly.
Yep.
So I think I think it's really good conditions. It's warm, but it's not too warm. So, and the wind's not really an issue at the moment.
So this is what we've got coming your way. We've got the women's C1 5000. It's a small field, but it is a quality field. We've got the men's C1 5000, then the women's K1 5000, and we finish off with the men's K1 5000. And well, yeah, as Esti said, it's a bit of a different format this year. There are 5 portages, and for the canoe sprint athletes, that filled them with horror. But for the athletes who have had a bit of canoe marathon experience, they lapped it up, and we saw in Zeged, the marathon paddlers, or the athletes that have been doing a bit of marathon, they really came to the fore, didn't they?
Anyone who had like a little bit of portaging skill definitely had an upper hand.
So, as I said, it's just a small field here for the women's C1 5000, but we have here the silver and the bronze medalists from Zeged, and also the Chinese paddler Li, who led early on, but went the wrong way. Basically kept on going straight when she was supposed to do a corner, and so it'll be very interesting if she manages to hold it together, how she goes this week. The Hungarian Sofia Kisban, she finished second in Zeged, so, and the 4th competitor is from Korea, Yelin Lee. But I think even though it's a small field, Esti, there's going to be a very interesting battle going on between these paddlers.
Yeah, definitely. I think Lili has some redemption to do after Zeged and try and get. I think she was well on her way to lead the pack in Zeged.
She would have been. She was in front, but she went straight, and everybody else did the corner.
Yeah. There were a few boats that followed, and I think it was the Canadian that turned left, and then the
Katie Vincent.
Group
She was
kind
going
of split up, and
she wasn't going to yell out and say, "Hey guys, you're going the wrong way." She just
take the gap.
Yeah, off you go. Bad luck.
Bad luck for the Korean.
So the Korean struggling out of the start, but look at this already. You can see this is going to be a bit of a contest from the Hungarian and 2 Chinese. It's obviously, you would think, going to be a lot easier with just the small field, because the portages can be challenging if you've got 10 boats coming in at once. So there should be less carnage on the portages, shouldn't there?
Yeah, definitely. And also just off the start, you can see the Korean, they're struggling a bit in the wake at the back. So the smaller the group, the less all that carnage is on the water and it's less bumpy. But it's going to be interesting to see whether the Chinese try to work together to hold off the Hungarian, which would be a pretty good strategic plan from their side.
Yep. So the 2 Chinese have gone out early, and we'll soon be able to ascertain whether they are working together, because Kisban is a definite threat. She was strong last week. We saw her earlier today in the 500, I think it was, and she looks quite strong in the 500. So this is her area. She's a marathon paddler by trade, so the distance won't bother her. She's won a couple of silver medals, I think, at the Marathon World Championships, behind Babak, the incredible Ukrainian canoe paddler.
But you can see her there riding that second wave behind the Chinese, just kind of being a little bit more strategic, not wasting her own energy trying to keep up with them. So if she does that and bides her time to the portage, then maybe her marathon experience will help her to just catch up with that front bunch.
And I know you said this morning, Esti, that you don't worry about who you're racing, etc. But I would think for a 5,000, it would be useful to go and just have a look at, see what the portaging strengths of the other athletes are, what their turning strengths might be, because that could well go into your pre-race plan of how you're going to attack this and what stages of the race you're going to attack.
Yeah, look, I think a 5,000 is a whole different story. Like, you're going to have some sort of strategy and some sort of plan going into it. It's not just you in your lane going and racing your race plan. There's a lot of factors that can go wrong. There's a lot of people that can cause your race to I mean, we've seen a lot of crashes, especially with the bigger bunches on the start. So there's a lot of uncontrollables in the 5,000. So it's good to have some sort of plan and some sort of idea of what you want to do and where you want to do it.
So the good news for Chinese fans is that both of the Chinese athletes have correctly gone around the first corner. And so they are at this stage. And good on Li for her confidence there, even though if it was me after the first week where I went the wrong way, I maybe would have sat back and let somebody else lead for the first lap just to make sure I knew where I was going. But she had the confidence to go out there again and say, right, I'm going to get it right this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, she just got one lap wrong, so she had 5 other laps in Szeged to learn the course. So I'm sure she's a bit more confident in today's race.
So she leads at the moment, Li, from her Chinese teammate Yin Wan. And Sofia Kisban, the Hungarian, just biding her time, just as Esti said, just paddling her own race back there in third. The Korean Yen Lee has dropped off a little bit already, so it's already developed into a bit of a race for 3, but at this stage, coming down to the first portage, we'll see the portaging. Oh, it's a big leap. It's a big step out of that boat, isn't it?
Groin strength there.
That is, oh my God, the second Chinese athlete is really struggling. So that's, now look at that. That's the thing to do. Come into the lower part, because I think that the first part of the buoy is way too
quite
high.
Yeah.
So let's have a look here at their portaging skills. It's very undulating portage, isn't it? And up there onto the. Okay, again, I would probably do what Kisban has done. She's thought this through, because
it's very high off the screen, but so it definitely makes that input a lot harder.
Yeah. And now the Korean doing the Pimenta carry, the Fernando Pimenta carry. It was almost what he did, except he was carrying it on his head. So this is much better. I hope Fernando's watching this and learning how to carry your boat for a portage. So the Korean athlete, not sure I'd be doing that because I'm not quite sure she can see where she's going.
I must admit, like, with the C1 that doesn't have a rudder, I don't really think putting it on your shoulder is really necessary, unless you don't want to, scrape or damage the boat or whatever reason.
Because you can't damage the rudder, so you might as well just drag it. Yeah.
But with a K1 not having pumps, I definitely would actually try and put the boat on my shoulder first, and in that movement try and maybe empty it out a little bit. But we'll see what the strategies are. I think the biggest challenge with this whole 5,000 portage is the fact that you're not allowed to have pumps. So when you take that boat out and you've been splashed a bit or whatever, to try and control where that water flow goes can really complicate the portage.
So just for people watching at home who might not be familiar with the sport, what do you mean? What do the pumps actually do, and what difference does it make when you have pumps?
So in marathon paddling, you can have pumps in your boat, which then whatever splash you get into your boat, whether it be another paddler or any type of water that's in your boat, you can physically pump it out with the same leg drive that you have in your K1. The boat's set up like that, and it just pumps out all that water, so that when you lift the boat out, there's no weight going either this way or that way. The boat's empty, you can pick it up, run, and all is level and sorted. But with the 5,000, you're not allowed.
So that means then when they get to the portage, they need to, and we see it quite often, we see paddlers stopping and having to empty their boats out, which obviously costs time, and you can do a little bit of damage to your boat as well, I suppose, in that process. But
absolutely,
it's just one of the many facets of the 5,000, which is making it such an interesting spectacle. And I know there are some out there who think, the portages are too difficult, and why are we increasing the portages? But I think from a spectator's point of view, the portages can be some of the most exciting, interesting parts of the race, and really you can see races being won and lost. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I love the 5,000 no matter what form it is, but I find there's a lot more excitement when you know that there's a portage coming up rather than just watching people paddling round and around for 5,000 meters.
Yeah, you know what, it's new now, but by next year, you know, everyone that's doing the 5,000 would have practiced it and would have actually nailed the skill down a little bit more. So the carnage would probably be a bit less the more the athletes learn how to do it and actually put some effort into the portage training.
So what are you reading into the China? There doesn't seem to be any sharing of the lead or anything going on at the moment, Esty. So that would tend to indicate that they're not working together on this. They're going at each other, I think.
Yeah, Lili seems to just keep the pull, but her teammate Juan does seem to look like she's benefiting from her tail slip and using that maybe to conserve some energy, because it's not like she's pulling away from her. They're splitting up now because they get out on opposite sides of the jetty, but that might count in her favor when it comes down to her end sprint, who's got the most in the tank.
So let's see if they choose to go get out at the portage at the same place they got out the first time, which is very high. And as Esty said, good test for the groin muscle. Yep, they're doing it again. So, oh my goodness, that is a big climb out, isn't it?
Serious groin.
So, yeah. Now it looks like One's got the idea. She's decided, no, I'm not climbing out that far. That's ridiculous. So she's
getting stuck there.
She's a bit stuck though. So a chance for Li to put a bit of a gap between herself and the second boat. Kisban, she's got it down pat though. She knows exactly what she's doing.
You can see her just comfortably getting out.
Yep. So maybe in her mind she's thinking, okay, I've still got 3 more portages to go. There's a good chance every time they're going to make a mistake. So I can just bide my time and keep a little bit of petrol in the tank for the back part of this race, because the Chinese are looking comfortable on the water, but certainly there looks like there's some opportunities there. Although Kisban goes for the deep part, the big drop. Oh, that is hard, isn't it?
That is very high.
Be interesting to see what happens when we have the big fields later on for the K1 men and women.
Yeah, I think the uneven surface of that portage area, look, you can see there's a bit of a step down there, and then a step back up. It's going to be.
There are all sorts of things that can go wrong there.
Quite exciting to see who.
I mean, they almost need. Look at poor old Lee. She needs a step ladder to get out, and then to reach down and pull and up on the head again, up on the shoulder. That is a big ask. I assume the other paddlers will be watching this though and learning, going to school on this, and they'll all start to think, okay, the best place to get out of the boat is on the black strip, because the green part is way too high.
It is high, but the black strip is also very limited in space.
Yeah.
So
if everybody goes for it, then we are going to see some bumper cars.
We are going to see some interesting portages.
Oh, that is hard work, but good on her. She is working very, very hard here.
Just hear her breathing like heavily.
Yep.
I think it's also very different, you know, that change of heart rate, being sitting down and then standing up with a run and going straight. Like, that's the thing that always caught me with marathon, was that you paddle and you're comfortable in that position, and you get out and you do the sprint, and then getting back, it just feels like your heart is thumping in your throat. It's a completely different feeling to just paddling a 5K straight out.
So it's Li at the moment. She managed to put a little bit of a distance between herself and her Chinese teammate Wan at the second portage, but it's not a big gap between them. Let's see if we can get some idea where the Hungarian is at the moment. Kisban, she always makes up a bit of ground on the portage, but then drops off a little bit once we get back out on the course. So
the pace of the Chinese on the water just seems to be too much for her to keep up with.
Yep. So she, I'm sure, is banking very much on something going wrong at the portage, and there's every prospect that it could end up that way. Beautiful day here in Poznan. You can see in the background, this is a local recreation area, and I don't know, Esty, whether you've had a chance to have a walk around, but there's amusement arcades, there's bouncy castles, there's so much down here, and the Poznan locals, they come down here in their droves, and they are really enjoying the sunshine down here. It's a lovely family atmosphere.
Yeah, there's a really nice vibe all around the lake, like wherever you go. There's even like a bungee jump.
Yes, there is. Have you done that or not?
No, there's no way.
Come on.
I can't even stand on a table without fearing for my life. So
Really?
I have such a crazy fear of heights.
Lucky you're not having to portage here then off that very high green.
Yeah, no. So that's I've been watching a few people jump off there over the weekend as I warm up, and I'm just thinking, nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost your mind.
So there we are. There we get a chance to see big distance there between the second and the third boat, but we're coming up now for the third portage. So Kisban will know, she'll be watching just to make sure that if there's an opportunity there, if there is a mistake made, that she can pounce, that she can sneak through and start to put a bit of pressure on. We've still got 3 more portages to go, so a lot of this race still to be run, and Kisban not completely out of touch, but needs to make sure that she doesn't let the Chinese get too far in front of her here, because at the moment they are dominant. And here we go again. Oh my goodness me, my groin feels sore just watching that. So
that's some serious strength that she's showing there with her takeouts.
So they're both not. Exactly pushing themselves, and they know they don't need to at this stage. They just need to try and
not make a mistake.
Not make a mistake,
yeah.
Exactly. Get in, get out of the water without doing too much damage. And so there is Lee. She's been in front since the start. And comfortably back into both of them. So very tight at the portage. So
one seems to be slightly faster on the portage than Lee, because she makes up time on Lee with every portage.
With every portage, yeah.
And then you can see her just moving into that wave behind her, not really intent on taking up any sort of pull from Lee, or she just sits there. And we might actually see her on the last lap throw down a bit of speed from her side.
On the portage, yeah. So that'll be the time to pounce. But they're still very close. They're still very much a race in two, and I think we've ascertained now just from what's been happening that they are not working together.
No.
Because Lee has been out in front, and I haven't seen any indication that she's turned to her Chinese teammate and asked her to take up any of the running. That hasn't happened at all, so I think they're just assuming that this is the way it's got to be. So Kisban is back in the water. She's negotiated her third portage without too many problems. And you can see there now in the wider shot, great work from our drone pilots, by the way. It's some fantastic aerial pictures that we're showing you. You can see Kisban there, probably about 60, 70 meters behind. This is hard work, isn't it?
It's exhausting. A portage is really a difficult thing to do. It's not an easy skill. I mean, we saw in Szeged with some skilled marathon paddlers that actually had really big trouble with the portage noses getting stuck under the jetty
yes, we did see that.
Anything like that.
Yep.
So that's marathon paddling, and this is now the element of the 5,000.
So good support here from the fans for this young lady from Korea, Yeon Lee. She's just 24 years of age, and not sure that this is her perfect idea of a Sunday afternoon, but she is sticking with it, and excellent work from our sound effects people. Yeah, don't do it. Please don't fall in now.
This is a hard race.
It is.
The exhaustion is. I think she deserves like a nice treat after these races.
I'm sure she'll get a nice treat. I'm sure she will. I mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast. I mentioned it yesterday. It's been really, really good to see such a big Korean team here. They're here in their numbers, and I can't remember whether they had any paddlers in Szeged, but certainly here they've had paddlers in just about every race so far. So great to see the Korean contingent looking so strong.
Yeah, I think with the Tokyo Olympics having been in Asia, it gave the Asian countries a big boost over the last few years. So it's nice to see that carried through to the Paris cycle.
So no change at the front. It's still Li from China ahead of her Chinese teammate Yin Wen. It's been that way since the go. Kisban, maybe it's a bit hard to tell with that angle, but you know,
looks like she might be gaining
She
slightly.
might be making up a bit of ground, so maybe she's decided now is the time to put a little pressure on. She is, as we said, she's a very, very accomplished marathon paddler. She's won silver medals at the last World Championships in the marathon, so the distance won't be a problem.
Li does look like she's kind of coming down on the stroke rates. Maybe just trying to conserve some energy for the last lap or so.
So this is the second to last Portage.
I'd be very aware of my teammate constantly sitting on my wave, resting it
You'd
up.
be annoyed, wouldn't you?
I would be a little bit annoyed.
You'd actually be annoyed. You'd probably swear.
Don't do that.
No, well, I would though. I'd give them a bit of a gobful if I thought they were getting a free ride on my behalf. And she's still insisting on getting out of the boat on the green section.
Yeah, she's almost making it a bit further for herself every single time.
So might be both just checking how many portages they've done. The officials will be telling them they've still got one more to go. So probably not the time yet for Yen to make her move. And well, she is gaining, definitely gaining, Kisban. She's picking up, look at that, oh my goodness, she's made big ground on this portage. We thought this might happen, she's very experienced, but she has caught right back up now. And the Chinese would have looked over their shoulder then, and that will make them a little bit nervous because they've been out there by themselves for most of the race. Then all of a sudden, this accomplished Hungarian with this fantastic marathon pedigree is breathing down their necks. And well, if she made up that much ground on one portage, you can imagine with one more to go, mistakes will happen if people start panicking. And of course, they're going to be tired, aren't they? By the time they get to this fifth portage, their arms will be hurting, their legs will be hurting.
Yeah, and when you get tired, you start making stupid, silly mistakes. That's when they happen most. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be quite an exciting finish.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be, all of a sudden, a race in 2 has become a race in 3 with Kisban closing the gap. The Chinese have moved out a little bit now, as they have done all race, but Kisban was there on the same pontoon as them at the last change, so a big move from her. No panic yet from the second Chinese paddler, Wan. She was third last week, 2 weeks ago in Szeged. And Kisban, who finished ahead of her in Szeged, just keeping her powder dry at this stage.
You can see Li now also, I think after that portage, seeing the Hungarian catching up, she looks like she put down a little bit more speed on the water.
Yeah.
Down this back straight.
Yep. So I think we're going to have a very exciting finish here, folks. It's definitely the two Chinese will be having a bit of an arm wrestle, but I think Kisban is going to play a part in this race for gold at the moment. She's got one more portage to go. What's her plan? When is she going to make her big move? When is one going to make her move? Is she going to make a move? Yeah. Or has Li run her into the ground because she's been out in front from the get-go and the pace has been fairly unrelenting. Anything could happen. I mean, goodness me, one of them could end up going the wrong direction, for example. I mean, when they get in there after this portage, how many laps they'll not know. They'll think, well, where do I go? Where's the finish line? Fantastic work from Yan Li from Korea. Great, I mean, fantastic that she has avoided being lapped, and I say that in the nicest possible way, but of course if you're lapped in these races you have to pull out.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that when she looked at the quality of this field, one of her goals would have been to make sure that she finishes the whole 5K, and she's going to do that. She's going to avoid being lapped, and that's, oh, look at this now. Kisban picking up the pace. So you can see her right there. Estee's picking up a bit, isn't it?
Definitely closing the gap there. If she can have a good portage with a quick put in, I think she can definitely get on a wave.
So
the Chinese took a really wide turn
they
there.
did. They did. And now this is going to be, forget about the last 4 portages, they amount to nothing. It's going to come down to this one portage. Who will get it right, who will get it wrong, and who will emerge on the other side of this portage with a gold medal within their grasp. There's the bell. There's the bell. They know the hard work has all been done. Now they've got to hold it together. Let's have a look at this all-important final portage. They would know a mistake here could prove incredibly costly. So you have Lee on the left, one on the right. You have Kisban, the Hungarian, in the background. We could well and truly have on this final lap 3 paddlers going head to head for a gold medal. So Lee once again goes to the steepest part of the portage to climb out. She's still in front though. Kisban, let's see how clean she is in and out of the water.
That was a very quick takeout from one there.
From one, yep. And in fact, one probably for the first time in this race has gone to the front. So there you go. But let's see the put in. There's Kisban now coming in on the left of your screen. Let's see her portage. Very good. Very good. What has she got left? Oh, what's she got left in the tank? Can she pull back this distance now? Here she comes. So the Chinese, they're mucking around getting back in the water.
Oh, there's one.
One has gone. One has
gone.
Flown. Lee is going up and down on the one spot. And Kisban now must see a big opportunity here. Has she got any pace on the water though? Because one has gone. She has timed it to perfection. She's taken a sneaky ride on Lee's back all the way. That will really annoy Lee. I hope they're not on the same bus on the way home tonight, because it's going to be a very awkward trip home.
There'll be some words.
There might not be any words. And it's a long flight home to China as well, and they'll be sitting at opposite ends of the plane because they'll refuse. In fact, you know what will happen? What will really annoy Lee is if she sits down in her plane seat and one sits down in the seat behind her. Just sits there for the whole race, for the whole flight home. Just occasionally just reaches over and taps her on the shoulder.
Constantly.
That will just really it'll just cap it off and you go, what the hell? Give me a break. But what a competition this is turning out to be. One is in front. Lee, has she got anything left? She's done all the hard work in this race. You know, she's been there from the get-go, and now for the first time she finds herself looking at the back of her teammate's head. Kisban, I don't know that she's going to match the pace on the water.
No, I don't know if she's going to catch up with Lee unless Lee really starts to battle now after doing 5 laps of work.
Yeah, I think it's a race in 2. I think Kisban has now consigned herself to the fact that the bronze medal is going to come her way. But it's one in front. Lee really struggling to find something here. She's got one more chance. She's having one last crack at trying to get over the top of her Chinese teammate, but I don't know that's going to happen. In fact, if anything, one looks like she's now pulling away with the finish line within sight. It's a very tactical race. Whether it's a fair way to compete, I don't know. But look, it is what it is.
If you're going to allow your competitor to sit on your slip, then it's kind of part of your own problem.
I mean, Lee could have, I'm sure she could have slowed down and let one take the lead at some stage.
Absolutely.
But it didn't happen. And as a result now we're seeing Yin-Wan, who was 3rd in Szeged. As long as she heads to the right place, she's going to win the gold here. Kisban desperately trying to get back up in touch. But Yin-Wan, as we go around the final bend, and then it'll be a race to the finish line. Lee's still there. She's close enough, but I think she's tired. She's spent so much, and plus, don't forget, she kept getting out of the boat at the very steep part of the portage.
Yeah, and I don't know, with this is C1's standing position, and having such major portages and strain on those groins, I don't know. I think it definitely starts burning hard. But one looks super strong and comfortable.
She really does.
I think she raced a very good tactical race. and adjusting after taking out on that high portage and then deciding to rather.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good thinking on her feet. So Lee having one last crack, maybe just giving one last effort to try and put a bit of pressure on her Chinese teammate, but one looks in control here. She's coming up to the finish line now. Lee is on her
Lee's fighting.
back. She's fighting. She's not going to give this up without a fight. It's
going to take a lot to get over that wave and up in front.
For
but
sure.
She's not giving up.
And Kisban closing the gap, but too much work to do on the final lap for the Hungarian to make any difference. So Lee switches out wide. One last attempt maybe to try and sneak home, but I think one has this race under control. It's just a matter of meters now to the finish line, and the gold medal will be Yinwan's from China. Li, after last week's big mistake,
silver,
getting silver. So 2 weeks in a row, she'll look back and she'll think tactically she hasn't done very well. I mean, the first week, it is a bad tactic when you go the wrong way.
Yeah.
So Li takes the silver. Congratulations, Yinwan gold, Li silver. And you'll see now coming into the shot a brave race from the Hungarian Sofia Kisban, but just left herself way too much work to do at the finish. And just up the top of the screen there, you can see the Korean on her final lap.
Doing well not to get lapped and being able to finish the race. I think that must be the worst thing, going through 4.5, 5 laps and then getting lapped just before your final, and then you have to do all that work for nothing.
So they're sort of talking but not really talking.
I think they're tired. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. Yep.
There's a bit of a grin, some happy expressions.
So congratulations to the Chinese, another gold medal, in fact another gold and silver combination. You know, we've been talking about the depth in the Chinese team, and especially in its women's canoe, where they've got the Olympic and world champions already. Yeah. And they just have so many top-class athletes. So we look back now at some of the highlights of this race, and you can see Li going to the front, and she stayed there until the final portage. So she did all the work. There was no indication that she indicated to her Chinese teammate to take over. She just looked happy to be in front. None of them really took too much advantage of the portages. Kisban always made up a bit of ground on the portages, but just struggled to keep up on the water.
I think if she managed to stay in contact after that first portage, she would have been in it, but you can see it, the back of the boat got stuck there, lost a little bit of time.
And we shouldn't forget the Korean, a brave race there from Yan Lee from Korea. It's all experience for her, chance to, and that's where the big move happened. That was the last portage where for the first time Yinwan took over the running, and Li had no answers at that stage. By the time she got into her boat and got back out on the water, she found she had a lot of work to do. Let's have a listen to our winner, Yinwan from China.
Congratulations, very good tactic, great competition. How do you feel?
上一站未能，上一站有遗憾，但是这一站去弥补，中国队永远第一。
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done, Balint Vakassi down there, our special sideline eye, keeping a close look on and keeping the athletes honest down there in the mixed zone. Congratulations to Yinwan for her gold medal. Now, Esty, you can take a breather if you like. We'll get you back for the K1 5000, which will be very, very soon. And we'll, yes, you can go and read up, put your feet up, have an afternoon, maybe have another coffee, have a little nap if you want.
Might have a little treat.
Have a little treat. Do that. Treat yourself to a little treat, and we'll see you back here for the Women's K1 5000.
Fantastic, thank you.
That's Esty Oliver from South Africa, who has been our special guest commentator today and this afternoon. And in just a moment, we'll welcome Stuart Bristow to the commentary. You may have heard Stuart with us yesterday doing the men's, the finals. He'll come in to call our men's C1 5000. It's a small field again, but again, quite a quality field here for the men's C1 5000. They're underway. They are underway and pretty even start. Now, let's see if we can identify any of these athletes. Of course, the Hungarian Balázs Adolf is there. Carlo Cecchini, I think, is there. He won a gold medal earlier today, which he'd be pretty stoked about in the C2. We've got the Chinese, Bowen Jai. We've got Robert Ladzins from Latvia. Manfred Pallinger from Austria. So a very good field, a very strong Asian contingent in this field. And Balázs Adolf from Hungary, you would expect to be up there at some stage challenging. And good to see the Ukrainians here and the Pole, Matthias Borgil, as well, here in this men's C1 5000, but already it looks like it's the Chinese athlete Bowen Jai who has taken the early lead in this race, because there's going to be a lot of congestion on the Portage. Stuart Bristow, welcome back to the commentary box.
Yeah, good to be here. Finally get to the last events of the weekend. It's going to be a good matchup.
There's going to be some good racing here. How did you see the racing earlier today? There's some fantastic finals and some really strong performances.
Yeah, some really good finals, some big upsets. It was good to watch the C1 and the C2. I know a lot of the guys in the A final are in this race as well. So yeah, it's going to be good to watch. The weather's also been playing ball this weekend.
It really, really has. I mean, look at this now. It's like a mill pond.
Yeah,
it is absolutely perfect. Bit of carnage there on the first bend, but I don't know whether you were watching, how close you were watching the women's race, Stuart, but there's some challenges with the Portage, because it's quite a big step up at the front part of the Portage. From the boat up onto the pontoon is a big step and a bit of a groin buster.
Yeah, it looks like the get in. They all seem to handle it well. I couldn't see the get out from where I was standing, so I guess we'll see that now.
So the field has already strung out quite a long way. It's the Chinese athlete Jai Bowen who at the moment is in the lead. Balázs Adolf, the Hungarian marathon champion, is right next to him, and it looks like it's the Pole Borgil, Matthias Borgil, who is currently in third. So let's have a look at this all-important Portage. Now this, so Adolf's gone, that's the high part. Look at that. That is a big climb out of there. It's much slower in the black section of the pontoon. So I think that's the smart place to get out if you can. So let's have a look here how everybody goes. They're all out safely at this stage, but can they get back in? Adolf gets in at the black part, which is lower, but the other two athletes, they've gone up to the high green section of the pontoon. There's Carlo Cecchini, the Italian, already with a gold medal today. And now the Pole, Borgil, with the home crowd getting behind him. He's gone up to challenge the Chinese paddler, who once again I think he obviously looks like he wants to be out in front.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the athletes taking a different approach to the Portage, some going onto the green turf, some choosing to get in earlier. It seems like the group has bunched up a bit again.
So we've got a race in 5 at the moment, which is fantastic that it's going to be so close in these early stages. They're going to push each other for the first half of this race. It's looks like it's Bowen Jai from China in front, and is that that's Balázs Adolf there on his inside, and the Pole Borgil on his outside. So there is your front 3, but the next 2 are not that far behind him, and that includes Carlo Cecchini, the Italian. I didn't quite see who the second boat was in the group of 2 behind, but some fairly strong work rates going on here at the moment, Stuart, at the front of this race.
Yeah, I think if the 2 behind can catch up, it's going to be really interesting to see who stays on that group. because they won't want a group of 5 going into the next portage.
So there's Takini going past now.
Looks like the other pole.
It is, yep, it looks like it's Adrian Kloss, who's the second pole in this race. So poles, 2 of the front 5, Chinese, Hungarian and an Italian make up the front 5. And you can see now Takini just trying to bridge the gap, make that into a race of 4, which I always think, Stuart, in a long distance race, that would be the most annoying, because you know that only 3 of you can win medals.
Yeah, it's tough. It's better than 5, but it's going to be a big race off to get those last 2 medals.
So we're coming around now. This is the second portage coming up in just a moment. There are 5 portages altogether. It's made for some very interesting racing already. It's made some tough, and look at Balázs Adolf, the Hungarian, go. He wants to get the best possible position for the next portage. Now moving clearly ahead of Bowen Jai, the Chinese paddler. Matthias Bourgil, the pole, sticking there. He's going to come to the underside, I think, of the portage. Takini there. He's just stuck in no man's land at the moment between the front group of 3 and then the second Polish paddler, Adrian Kloss, who's sitting back now in 5th position. But the Hungarian Balázs Adolf wanting to get into that portage first. So he heads in there now. Bowen Jai and Matthias Bourgil trying to hang on, but they need to be careful here that they don't lose touch with the Hungarian. If the Hungarian can get a good portage together here, he can put a bit of a distance between himself and the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's chosen again to get out on the black part of the portage.
Oh yes, but look at this. Adolf struggling a little bit to get out of his boat, and it's opened the door for Bourgil, who really got out of his boat very fast. And oh my goodness me, Balázs Adolf having all sorts of trouble at the moment. He looked like he might have been limping. Well, look at that. That is a very, that's how you portage.
Yep.
Boys and girls, you have the confidence to put your boat in and then just jump in and off you go. So all that work that Balázs Adolf did to put some distance between himself and the rest of the field has amounted to naught, because now he's sitting there and he's got Matthias Bourgil on his outside. So no chance at all of blowing the field away. Let's see if we can get in a moment a look at where the Chinese paddler, who was leading for the first lap, Bowen Jai, maybe he and Carlo Takini have teamed up to form a chase pack. Let's have a look. So there's Takini now is clearly in 3rd, and Bowen Jai now has dropped back to 4th. So Takini's worked very, very hard. He must have portaged very well to jump up there ahead of Jai, and the second Polish paddler is now tacking on the back of the Chinese paddler. So good competition here at the front. It's now Matthias Bourgil from Poland. It's Balázs Adolf from Hungary. They are going neck and neck. Right behind them and closing the distance with every stroke is the Italian Carlo Takini. Then it's Bowen Jai from China and Adrian Kloss from Poland. There you can see, strung out a little bit like Brown's cows, as we say in Australia, Stuart.
Yeah.
Have you heard that saying before?
I haven't, no.
It's a good one. You can use that. Take that back to Great Britain if you
Yeah.
like. And when you see people all over the place, you can say they're strung out like Brown's cows.
Yeah, it's a really tough place to be in that chase group. It looks like Takini's making up some ground. He's had some hard racing this weekend, so
He
he'll
really
be feeling
has.
it.
Yeah, this will be a test of how much petrol he has in the tank. I mean, I think from what we saw with that last portage, that the pole, Matthias Bourgil, is exceptionally good at portage.
Yeah, he seems to have the edge, and as hard as the racing is on the water, the portage is really where it can be won and lost, you know, using too much energy, getting in and out of the portage like we saw.
So let's have a look here as Adolf is back now in the front, but I don't think that's going to bother Bourgil too much. Takini there in the background, and then Bowen Jai from China and Adrian Kloss from Poland. So we'll see if they go to opposite sides of the pontoon again. There's really not a lot between the front two at the moment. They are pushing each other, which is going to make it hard for Takini to make up any distance. He really needs to make a decision here on how he wants to attack the rest of this race. They have got a long way to go. They've still got 3 more portages, so a lot can happen. As we've seen already, Balázs Adolf's portage, second portage, was not that great, I've got to say, for a marathon paddler. Let's see if he gets it right this time. He really struggled to get out of the water and then really made a bit of a pig's ear of the attempt to get, that's another saying, have you heard that one, a pig's ear?
Definitely heard that one.
Yeah. So Balázs Adolf coming down now, and again, the boat getting away a little bit this time from the Portuguese paddler Borgil. Takini there. Oh, I mean, no, he's made a bad call there. He's gone to the wrong part. He's decided to change where he was going to get it. Oh, and behind we have the Chinese athlete Bowen Jai, but he's okay. So let's have a look up at the front of the portage though. Oh, goodness me, sometimes those boats can get away from you. So nothing changes. These 2 paddlers out in front are still neck and neck. 3 portages down, 2 to go. Who do you think's looking the better on the water at the moment, Stuart?
I mean, Balázs has decided to take the lead in and out of the portage this time, so so he's really keen to get away from Takini as much as they can. But the Polish are looking really strong on this one, just sort of conserving energy on the wash there. Portages are looking a bit smoother. That last one, I don't think any of them really had a great portage. You can see the muscles are starting to get tired.
And Takini clearly now in 3rd, Bowen Jai 4th, and Adrian Kloss is sitting in 5th position. So the question for Carlo Takini, is he happy now just to keep fighting to hold on to that bronze, or does he fancy his chances of maybe chasing down this front 2 and giving a bit of a challenge for something a little bit more shiny than a bronze medal?
I believe the silver's the only one he doesn't have this weekend. So.
Correct. That is correct. So he'd like a full house, I'm sure. And I'm sure he'd rather actually have 2 gold than a full house. But
we all.
Yes. It was good to see, wasn't it? I mean, the C2 race, the 500, it was an incredible finish by the Italians. They were a long way back at the halfway stage. Just absolutely flew home.
Really great race.
So the pole takes the lead again now. Borgil, they seem to be sharing the duties, unlike the women's canoe race that we just had, where there was no sharing of the leadership duties, even though they were Chinese teammates. And as we saw, the athlete who was sitting in 2nd position, made her move on the last portage, and for the first time took the lead, and Li had no more petrol to go and basically had to settle for the silver medal. At least these 2 look like they're sharing the duties, Stuart.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to make. If you're feeling strong, do you try and break away, or do you sort of conserve energy and make sure that Takini doesn't catch up? It looks like Balázs Adolf has decided to take the lead again, so they're doing sort of 500 on, 500 off, even less.
Yep. So coming down now for the 2nd to last portage. There's Balázs Adolf in the green singlet from Hungary in front. Matthias Borgil from Poland right on his outside, and in the background you can see Carlo Takini from Italy and Bowen Jai from China. And it looks like the 2nd pole is Adrian Kloss, and then there's somebody trying to make up a bit of ground there across to the 5th position, but not quite sure who that is. We'll try and get a shot of that a little bit later on. But here we go down now to the penultimate portage. Let's see their tactics this time. Where will they get out? I mean, there are things to think about here. Where will they get out of the water? And again, same as they did the last time. No change. Oh, but looks like the boat got away from Borgil a little bit. He had to try and pull it back in. I don't know that getting out of the water at that particular part is very useful.
Yeah, had to empty a bit of water out of his boat there as well.
That's twice in a row now that the boat's got away from him when he's tried to. But we know he's so good at getting back in the boat. Look at that.
Wow.
Perfect. Wow. That is smooth. Smoother than a baby's bum, as we say. There's another one. You writing these down, Stuart?
Yeah, I got my pen out there. They really seem to be conserving energy on that front group. Don't seem to be too bothered by Takini chasing from behind.
No. So Takini safely back in the water. Bowenjai worked hard early on. He led for the first lap, and now he's facing the prospect of finishing without a medal, which I'm sure he would be desperate to try and pin back a bit of distance now between himself and Takini. But the front two are still there. They're going at each other. I'm not sure if it came down to a sprint at the end, Stuart. I think I would possibly back the pole if it came down to a sprint finish. But who can tell how much energy's been expended already in this race if it came down to that last 100 meters.
Yeah, I think Balázs Adolf has been doing quite a lot of work. Had to catch up off the Portage a few times. So the end sprinters, I think they're both going to be saving their energy to see who can get it on the line. I don't think any of them will try and break away unless one has a bad portage.
So you can see absolutely perfect conditions here. It is like a flat mill pond. Maybe a little bit of breeze, but nothing too much to worry about. You can see in the background the kayak paddlers warming up for the next race. Oh, what's going on there? Yep, no, they're all right, I think. They're still on course there. Now we're seeing a bit of a move. Is this the move from Matej Borgil? We've seen in the last couple of laps that they've swapped the lead as they head towards the pontoon. I think this time it looks like Borgil does not want to give up the lead. But look at Balázs Adolf on the inside. He's saying, well, no, I want to be first. I want to be first to the pontoon. Borgil lets him pass without too much of a fight. So just biding his time.
They both seem to have chosen opposite sides of the portage, so there's more than enough space for both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll be too fussed about who gets in first.
I'll be really interested, though, to see if Borgil hops out at the same place he has for the last two portages, because he's made a bit of a mess of both of them. He's lost control of the boat, it's got away from him, he's lost some space. I wonder this time whether he'll go a little bit further along and try and get out on a lower surface. We'll know in just a moment as we come down here for the final portage. This is where the race will be run and won. Takini, I think, has decided to settle for the bronze. Just keep that distance between himself and Jai Bowen. So the big race is here. This is the race we're all watching, the race for gold. It's going to come down to a final lap finish. Will the Polish crowd have an influence? Could that be something which will lift the Polish paddler? Oh, he's just getting himself into a spot of bother there. He's corrected himself now. So they're going to opposite sides again. Now let's have a look at this. They're going to both get out of the water at about the same time. And this time, oh no. Oh, they both. Now I can't hear the bell. I'm assuming this is the bell. I'm assuming this is the final portage. No bell going though, so maybe we miscounted. Stuart.
I'm not too sure how many portages is that now.
I thought that was the fifth. I thought that was the fifth.
There it is.
Oh, there we go. There we go. They forgot to ring it. One job. One job. Now they get it going. So this is it. They're coming down now for the lap, the last lap, the deciding lap This is for the gold medal, folks. 2 young men who have been out there for 4 of the 5 laps, cheek by jowl, in the C1 5000. I would imagine, Stuart, right now, every muscle on their body would be aching, wouldn't it?
Yep, they're both going to be really tired. It's just the decision to make is whether they decide to break away early or save it for the last sort of 250 meters and stay together. Although it looks like Balázs Adolf is going now.
He's going early. We've still got a long way to go on this lap. He's got to get around the bend at the top and then sprint for home. So has he gone too early? There's certainly a bit. Oh, he's picking up pace now. He's really pinned the ears back here. The Hungarian Balázs Adolf putting a lot of space between himself and, well, I wonder whether Bourgil's got anything left.
Tacchini's going to be watching this closely.
Tacchini will be eyeing this off and thinking, hang on a moment, maybe. Although, let's have a look. No, Tacchini's way back. Look at that. Tacchini's settling for the bronze, I think. Too much of a distance there for him to make up on the silver medalist. But Balázs Adolf looks like he's blown his Polish opponent out of the water. Mateusz Bourgil, he is struggling now just to stay within reach of this young Hungarian, the marathon world champion, under 23 world champion, formidable paddler, coming around now the last bend. If he can stay, if he can stay in the canoe, and he has a sneaky look over his shoulder, he'd be pretty happy with what he can see. Because in the background, Mateusz Bourgil, he could not go with the Hungarian when crunch time came. He obviously read the body language, didn't he, of the Pole, and knew that this was the time to pounce.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much of a fight there. When he decided he was going, he was gone.
So there they are. They're pretty spread out now. It doesn't really offer an accurate reflection of what this race has been, because up until the last Portage, it was really neck and neck. But this is an impressive performance from this Hungarian paddler, Balázs Adolf, 24 years of age, and he's going to take the gold medal in the men's C1 5000. Mateusz Bourgil will take the silver. He fought hard for most of the race, but in the end, just not able to go when the power was applied by the Hungarian. So coming down now to the finish. Congratulations to Balázs Adolf. Gold for Hungary. Is that Hungary's first gold medal for today? I think it might well be.
I believe so.
I think it might well be. So there he goes, crosses the line now. Gold, Hungary, Balázs Adolf in the men's C1 5000. And coming down now for the silver medal, it is the Polish paddler, Mateusz Bourgil. He fought hard, tried hard to keep up with the Hungarian, but in the end, he found the younger paddler a little bit too strong. But that's a silver medal for Poland. And Carlo Tacchini, he's had a good day on the water. He's had a good day, he's had a good championship actually, and he's pretty excited to be picking up that gold medal earlier today. And now he can add a bronze medal to his collection as he crosses the finish line now. Gold for Hungary, silver for Poland, and bronze for Italy. What did you make of that race, Stuart?
Yeah, it was some really good racing. Good to see a bit of a group forming at the start. The Chinese paddler sort of helped with that breakaway, so he's going to be disappointed not to come away with a medal after all that hard work in the first quarter of the race. But yeah, the marathon pedigree really came through at the end there.
So let's have a listen to our winner. Whenever you're ready, Balint. So here's our winner, our gold medalist from Hungary, Balázs Adolf.
Okay, congratulations, Balázs. Very nice going. How do you feel about it?
Thank you. It is a very hard race, I'm very happy.
Okay, it was really a tough race. You were absolutely right. It seemed from the beginning. How long did you save your energy for the final lap? You knew all along that would you go like this?
I try to relax in the water, and I have.
Thank you very much. You seem you are relaxed enough. Thank you. Congratulations.
Look, to be honest, I don't know how they can get any words out after a race like that. It's such a grueling affair. Look at that big start. And you can see early on the Chinese paddler, Bo and Jai, wanted to make a statement. Balash Adolf was always there, wasn't he? He was there at the start. He didn't want to let anybody get away and sneak under his guard. Just looking around, making sure that everything was under control. As we heard him say in the interview, he tried to conserve his energy where he could, but he was always getting that pressure. Look at that perfect entry into the water from the Polish paddler, Mathieu Bourgiel. They shared the lead. There was a bit of lead swapping going on, but in the end, Balash Adolf, when the time came to flex the muscles, Bourgiel had nothing left to give. So congratulations to Hungary, gold for Hungary, silver for Poland, and a bronze medal for Italy. Stuart Bristow, thank you very much for joining us. You'll be back in a little while to help us with the men's 5,000.
Can't wait. Got 2 of the GB men's boats in that event, so it's going to be a good one to watch.
And it's going to be a fantastic way to bring the curtain down on this second International Canoe Federation Canoe Sprint World Cup. Thank you, Stuart. Stuart will be back with us soon. But now we are getting ready for the women's K1 5000. And this is bound to be, you can see now the athletes milling around at the start, ready for what's going to be a crackerjack race. We'll be joined in the commentary box by Esti Oliver, who's been out sunning herself. Look at her, she's coming now. I can see she's got suntan. She's picked it up just in the time she's been out there watching the men's race. So Esti Oliver joins me back in, and she's had the commentators standard diet that we have in quiet moments during commentary. She's been off and treated herself to an ice cream. What was it? A single scoop, double scoop? What did you?
It was a double scoop.
Yeah, a double scoop.
Go big or go home.
Did you mix the flavours, or what?
Yeah,
did you?
I had a cherry sorbet with the strawberry cream.
Nice. But don't worry about us just sitting in here calling the calling the finals. Now, we were both looking there at the world best time, which doesn't mean a lot for these events because it's, you are a victim to the elements and all that sort of stuff. But the world best time belongs to one Bridget Hartley.
Yeah, for many years now, I think.
Yes, of course.
That record's been standing for a while.
Yep, and I'm sure Bridget will be watching and she'll say, yes, make sure you talk this up because those were the glory days. And Bridget, of course, winning medal at the London Olympics. But we're underway. Who are you looking forward to seeing? I mean, this is such a good field, isn't it, Esti?
I think in terms of the race, Jenny Egan is always one to watch on the 5,000, but Susanna Secali from Italy, she's also got some good marathon experience behind her, as well as Melina Anderson, coming off quite a few world marathon medals last year. So I think those would be the 3 to watch. But the start will definitely determine a lot. You can see Melina there off to a flying start.
She was very good in Szeged. She finished second in Szeged. Estefania Fernandez from Spain, who won in Szeged, she's not here.
No, she's not here.
So that has thrown it open. Vonda Kisley is also not here
Not
from
yet.
Hungary.
Yeah.
I don't think Anna Sletsjo is here either from Norway. So that has thrown the race wide open for, as you said, Susanna Kakali from Italy will be a strong presence. Jenny Egan will fight hard, and of course the Hungarians, we know that they're always tough, but I think given her form, Melina Anderson will be the athlete they'll all be watching.
Absolutely, especially on the portages. I think she'll be extremely quick out with a lot of experience in that regard. But there's quite a big bunch forming there. There's Jenny Egan just in the middle. I don't know if that's where you want to be.
No. Well, I'm sure they all would like to have a little less traffic when they get to the pontoon, because as we've seen already today, there's not a lot of room there, and if you get out at the wrong place, you can do yourself all sorts of damage physically and mentally.
Yeah. Well, it makes it hard because you know, traditionally the first lap of the 5,000 was a bit longer, so it spread the group out quick. But now with these short laps, the group stays together going into that first portage, so it's hard to spread them out.
So it looks like it's Anderson in front. It looks like it's Kakali from Italy, I think, on her right, and then on the left it looks like it could be
Slovakian.
Slovakian, is it? Is it Peskakova?
Yeah.
I think on her inside at the moment. But it's a big group. It's a group of about 9 or 10.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting first portage for sure.
Yeah, it really, really is. So
you can see the Argentinian, there's also there hanging on the back.
Yep, there is. That's Garro from Argentina. I think there was a Ukrainian in there as well, but I'll just wait for confirmation there. But Melina Anderson, she will know that there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people breathing down her neck. I can see there's a Chinese paddler. There's 2 Chinese paddlers in that group as well.
Quite impressed with the Finnish athletes as well. Sitting on that front bunch.
So that'll be
there.
Sarah Mihalak, I think. She's actually quite consistent in this. I would expect her to be pushing up there. And there we are. There is your teammate.
Yeah, youngster Helen.
She's staying out of trouble, which is good at this stage. She's going to let everybody fall over the top of each other.
Yeah, well, 19-year-olds are bound to stay out of trouble, so that's very good.
Yeah, sure, for sure. So let's go. This is going to be very interesting, this portage.
Melina.
Who will get it right? And you can see already that Melina Anderson not giving anyone an even chance here, making sure that she sends a message to her Italian challenger, Kakali.
Melina opting for the high jetty
for the groin
there.
stretcher. She's gone for the groin stretcher. Oh, look at that. There's all sorts of confusion behind as people wait almost for the traffic lights to change.
The Argentinian athlete there took a really good gap, cutting in front of the Slovakian and then taking out short of that board. But there you can see her struggling with the water in her boat with that nose just wanting to dip down.
Yep. So Anderson in and out safely. And it looks like it was the Mihalak from Finland who's up there but struggling to get back into the boat at the moment.
No, she's over here. She's looking all right.
Yep.
Going out third. Yeah, that's not bad. But yeah, I think Melina just has this in pure speed and technique on that portage as well as the strength on the water. See if the Argentinian can catch up with her.
Yep, there she is there. Garro sitting on her tail there. There's, they sort of split away now, these front 2. And sitting in third at the moment, that's Mihalak, is it, from Finland? Sitting third.
Finland, yeah.
You can see the Italian got into a bit of trouble there. She got stuck in behind a boat or 2 on that portage, which we knew was going to happen. But now it's left her a little bit of work to do to try and get back in touch. Melina Anderson, not the sort of paddler that you want to be able to get away from the field, because she's going to be very hard to rope back in.
She's got the speed and she's got the endurance to go this race on her own, so it's a dangerous thing to let her go.
But looks like it is what is happening at the moment, because she is stringing this field out. Do you think she would have had a look here, SD, and gone, okay, I've got a chance here to really put some gaps in this field?
Yeah, I reckon. Give yourself some more time on the portage so that you know you're out of trouble and you can like calmly go into it. I definitely think she just saw that gap and went for it. But the Maria Garros from Argentina seems to be chasing really hard. You can see her moving out a bit to the left, trying to use that wave that Melina is making to try and make up some ground. So, but unless we see Melina making some sort of big mistake somewhere, I don't think she'll be caught.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about the 5,000 is, and I say this with my hand on my heart, it's a great thing from a spectator's point of view and from other athletes, is that mistakes can happen. And, you know, we saw last week in Szeged a couple of people take swims because they misjudged the distance between the pontoon and their boats, and they ended up falling in the water, and rudders got broken. And
it was absolute carnage, no joke.
Yeah, it really, really was. It was.
But already this week, like just watching the C1 men now while I was enjoying my ice cream, it looks like there's a bit more skill. Like some might have actually taken these 2 weeks and try to actually practice this jetty thing a little bit.
Yep.
So.
And some of the in and outs of the boats were really quite impressive.
Yeah.
We didn't see that in Szeged, but we certainly saw it here today. So coming down now for the second portage. And the Argentinian is fighting hard. It's a brave race from the Argentinian. She's really just trying to stick with Anderson. So it's Garrow on the right. There's Melina Anderson. She's got the race to herself at the moment, but Michalek in behind there, sitting in third.
Sure, she's being chased hard by that second bunch. So I don't know if that second bunch might form at some point and try and catch.
I'm just trying to find Jenny. Jenny Egan's back there in that third
she's in
bunch.
That bunch, yeah,
at the back of that bunch. So
Melina again opting for the high portage.
Yep.
Doesn't seem to have too much trouble with it though.
No, not like some of the athletes we've seen who have really struggled to get in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, I would honestly prefer to not be in a big bunch like that, just to keep the boat empty.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know you can be the best paddler in the world, the best portager in the world, but all you need is somebody else who's not that experienced swing their boat around and knock you over or knock you.
Exactly.
And then that stuffs you up. Oh, there we go. That's a
good gracious. I hope that rudder made it.
Yeah. Well, we'll soon find out.
Yo, this is not the first race where the rudders are actually a thing on the portage.
Yeah.
So
I could hear Tom Egan there supporting, as always, giving Jenny a rundown of where she is. Yeah, strong support, isn't it?
Yeah, it must be nice, I think.
Yeah.
No, always someone there.
So, in fact, it looks like there that...
it looks like Jenny...
I think that's her on the outside in about 5th position at the moment. So she's done a good portage.
Herself and another athlete broke away. Looks like they're catching third. I think they might actually catch up with her if they work together
nicely. They catch up with Mihalik, I think.
Yeah.
Sarah Mihalik. So that's a good portage. But this is the lady they've got to chase. And I have to say... Now, in the background, folks, they're the balloons. You can see there the big red one and the yellow one in the background. They're the ones we were talking about earlier today, if you listened to our commentary. Earlier on this week, there was a mini hurricane came through the venue, picked up a couple of those balloons, and one of them, Esty was just sitting in her tent eating another ice cream. I think it was about her 5th ice cream for the day. And tell us what happened, Esty.
Well, not true. I was actually on the water getting ready for my K2 semi-final.
Eating an ice cream.
And we saw the balloons going up, and at first they were okay and they fell. Definitely damaged a few boats, and then the hurricane thingy came later on. And it just went straight through our boat rack, straight through our tent, took it off the platform, the boats went flying, and we figured, okay, well, one of the boats is definitely damaged. Didn't think it was that extensive though, like it poked straight through the hull of the boat. So.
It really was a freak, because it wasn't that windy. That the weather that day had been quite perfect. And it's just like this little
random little tornado thing that just came.
I don't know, what do you
through.
call them in South Africa? Because in Australia, I think we'd call them a will-o'-the-wisp. Is what we used to call them in Australia, I think, a little willy-willy.
Yeah, I know. In Afrikaans we just call it a warrelwind.
Okay.
But it's like a little whirlwind, basically.
Yeah. Yep, willy willy. That's what we call it in Australia. But in Australia we tend to call everything a willy.
You also call your shoes thongs, so that's
Well,
weird.
we do, and it's very awkward. In fact, I was wearing thongs down to breakfast this morning, and it was very uncomfortable sitting in them.
Everyone's staring.
Everyone was staring. What did they say? You fool. So Melina Anderson now, she has really opened up a commanding. Look at that! Wow.
Yeah, no, she looked comfortable in the front. Nothing rushing her.
Not at all. And sitting second, the Argentinian. I think she's going to feel a little bit of pressure
Coming from the back there.
coming from the back. There's a couple of athletes who are starting to pick up the pace a little bit, trying to eye off a silver medal. I think they were all probably agreed that the gold medal is gone. Unless something dramatic happened here on a portage and she busted off her rudder or fell into the water or something.
Yeah, which I don't think will happen because she's not rushed or pressured at all. So
she still gets out of the groin busting.
yeah, she seems to be
she's
quite
fine.
okay. Quite okay with that.
She's fine. She's oops. Oh my goodness.
It's not jinx her.
Yeah.
It looks like Jenny Egan's fallen off that boat that she broke away with. I'm still trying to identify who that paddling fourth is. So this is Maria Garro.
So that's Garro from Argentina. Ooh, she cut up fine there. That's Mihalik, I think, from Finland, who's coming in third.
So this fourth boat. Oh, it's Anna Lehaci from Austria.
From Spain. Austria, sorry, yes.
Okay.
Well, great effort. That's.
So she's chasing down for bronze.
Yep. And let's see, there's Jenny Egan in the background now, I think, coming out. Yes, you can see her in the background. So she's close enough, if good enough, to challenge for a medal. But good to see Lehaci from Austria up there challenging for a medal.
Yeah, if I was Finland and Austria now, I would kind of try and work together to try and catch Garro from Argentina.
Yep.
But she seemed to have a really good portage because she opened up quite a commanding
look at
lead
that.
there.
So there's
Sarah.
There's Mihalik there in a clear third, and Lehaci's trying to
close that gap.
She seems to be paddling pretty well. She's made up a bit of ground already on Mihalik, and you can see going around. She's taking the bends very well.
Yeah, she's definitely making up ground with small little 1%ers on this race.
Yep.
But I mean, Anna is a really accomplished paddler herself, so can't take that away from her.
No, that's exactly right. So the Scandinavian countries are very, very good at the 5,000. That's what I've learned in the past couple of years. The Danes and the Swedes and the Norwegians, they all seem to be very, very good at this long distance caper. And Melina Anderson, well, she has been a very consistent paddler now over
all disciplines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she's still quite young, Melina Anderson. I think she is, let me just check here in my notes, she's only 24, maybe even 23 still. So she's got some good paddling in front of her, hasn't she?
Very good career ahead of her. But you're saying now with the Scandinavians, so that actually, looking at Szeged, opens up the entire podium.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will see brand new medalists in the men's K1000, 5,000 up next, because none of those Scandinavian countries are here to defend.
No, Mads is here.
Is Mads?
Mads Pedersen is here.
Is he in Denton?
He's here. I've seen him. He's been over there making a nuisance of himself at the medal ceremonies.
So is he just doing? Oh, here he is.
No, he did the 1,000. He was in the B final of the 1,000.
Okay, so he's here to defend.
And John Vold is here from Norway. So
yeah.
Lindberg, yeah. So it's a good.
Okay. Sorry, I missed them.
Look at that distance now, though, between Melina Anderson. Yeah, I've been impressed with the Argentinian. I hadn't heard much of her before today. I haven't seen her paddling a lot. Have you seen her around much? Or?
I've seen her racing in the K2 with her partner Royas, I think is her surname. So they're quite an experienced crew together as well. They've been in the K2 for a few years, but I haven't seen her in any of the K1 races. Her partner, I believe, did the K1.
Okay. So Garrow looks comfortable in second at the moment. Look at this though, there's a bit of a challenge coming on now from Mihalik. She's trying to, what's this? This is the 4th portage, I think. So one more after this for Melina Anderson. She's giving that kayak a good workout, but the rudder is still there. So she has one more portage to go after this, and she'll take an opportunity, I'm sure, once she puts the boat in, to have a sneaky look and just see where everyone else is.
No, doesn't look like she really cares.
No,
She's
she
got
knows.
one way, and that's forward.
She's got, she knows she's got this under control. The question is, can anybody sneak up and challenge Garrow for the silver? Let's check out her portage. They've been pretty good.
It almost looks like her handles aren't placed exactly where she needs them for the boat to be level. It's either that or the boat's got some water and she hasn't emptied it yet. But
oh, we should say, shouldn't we, that they're a new addition this year, the handles.
yeah, they weren't allowed in Canada last year.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very good thing that they've at least allowed the handles.
Makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Massive.
Getting out of the water, especially.
And, I mean, you have to also remember that with marathon the boat weighs 8 kgs, whereas here the boat is 12, which makes a major difference on that portage.
Yeah. I mean, 4 kilograms doesn't sound like a lot, but wow, when you've been paddling around for 4,000 meters,
and you spread it across a 5.5 meter kayak, it's an extensive difference.
Yeah. So I think the race for second is starting to tighten up a little bit. Mihalik looked like she had a very good portage, but whether she's able to maintain that pressure actually out on the water, where we've seen Garrow pretty consistent throughout. No worries at all now to Melina Anderson. She'll be going through a playlist in her head, maybe thinking about what she's going to do. Has she pre-booked her flight back home? Has she?
What's for dinner tonight?
What's for dinner tonight? What is there to do in Poznan when you're not paddling? All these sorts of things will be just passing through her mind right now. What's the best flavour ice cream?
Sarah looked like she's opened up the gap a bit between her and Anna from Austria, but it seems to be pretty stable gap between Argentina and Finland at the moment for second and third.
Yep, she's maintaining the pace. It's been a very impressive performance from Marla Garrow from Argentina. I don't think the Argentinians have won a medal yet this week, so it would be wonderful for, in fact, off the top of my head...
Didn't they get a bronze this morning at some point?
You know, if I was good at my job, I'd probably be able to tell you, but I can't remember whether they did. It'd be great anyway to have a South American country picking up a medal here on the final afternoon of the 2023 International Canoe Federation's second Canoe Sprint World Cup, as Melina Anderson comes down for her final portage.
Can see like
maybe in the background now, what do you think? It looks like Mihalik maybe slowly.
I think it's going to come down to this portage.
Yep.
And then whoever can put it down the hardest for that final lap round.
Her execution of the corners, the bends, the turns has been a big difference. I think she's very, when I say her, I mean Garrow, the Argentinian.
Efficient.
Very, very efficient.
Yeah, she doesn't waste any space around those corners. She really keeps it nice and tight. There you can see the Austrian also coming in slightly tighter than the finish. And that makes a big difference in terms of trying to catch up with an athlete, if you can get those turns right.
So the final portage.
No problem.
She should hear the bell here, although they tricked me on the last race and they forgot to ring it. The bell should be going now for Melina Anderson as she starts to smell that gold medal. Very wisely doesn't drag the boat this time, just...
Yeah, no,
I mean,
no
wouldn't it be
rudder.
wouldn't it be heartbreak to bugger up your rudder on the final portage?
Goodness.
Okay, ring that bell, Judge. Ring. You heard me. Ring that. Oh, don't ring the bell then. So Melina Anderson is. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. She's underway, heading towards the finish line now. The race for silver. Is there a race on? Garrow from Argentina.
Almost
She's
a little trip there.
Yep, but she's out of the boat. Mihilik from Finland, ready to chase her down. Another Scandinavian country. I think these two are going to have a very interesting final lap. And the Austrian, don't discount her chances here of a medal either. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, I know. Yep. What have you got left, Sarah? What have you got left in the tank? Off they go. The bell goes. They have got 1 lap to go. And the difference, what is at stake here, is a silver or a bronze medal for those two young ladies. Marla Magdalena Garrow from Argentina and Sarah Mihilik from Finland.
Melina got like maybe almost a 200-meter lead.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Over the rest of the field. That's a major, major opening.
Unbelievable. She can really enjoy this moment, I think, just soak it up.
Yeah, and she doesn't seem to be like going into rhythm, or looks like she keeps pushing. It's almost like she's like, okay, well, I'm going to race for a good time. Or
Yep. Well, no point cheating yourself, I suppose. She wants to give herself a good workout here. Shows because, you know, when it comes to the World Championships, there'll be a few big-name athletes who will be back.
Absolutely.
For that, and she wants to really be race ready and know what her limitations are and what she can expect from her own body, I suppose. But look at that impressive distance there between Melina Anderson, and it looks to me from this distance that Garrow has slipped away again for the silver. Maybe they've now decided that that's the way it's going to finish. Garrow with the silver and Mihilik with the bronze, but we'll get an update in just a moment of how they're travelling. Now she has a sneaky look around. She doesn't need to look too far over her shoulder because most of them are still coming up the other way.
She can just look a little bit to her left.
She looks out in front of her, she'll see them all. But that is a very, very impressive performance. So let's have a look here. Esty, is there any chance at all, do we give Mihilik any chance at all of pulling back that distance?
She does look a little bit closer to me than she did on the previous lap, but I don't know if she has enough space to really reel her in. Garrow, I think she just has she has a much quicker put in at the Portage, and she gets away from her every single time. So whatever time Milak made up on her in the run, she lost it on that put in. And again, you can see that efficiency around the body, really tight around there.
But I think you're right, Mihilik has moved a little bit closer, so it's going to come down to a sprint for the finish.
What we can say is that Mihilik is pretty certain of a medal because it looks like Anna Lehachi has dropped back quite significantly.
Yeah. But here's your gold medalist, folks, and I think we can all stand and applaud this young lady. It has been a very, very efficient performance. A strong performance from a Swedish paddler who is still so young and has so much in front of her, and I'm not sure later on this year if she'll do the Marathon World Championships. So her focus, I'm sure, this year will be on trying to qualify for Paris. But she is an outstanding talent, and there she is, crosses the finish line now, gives the boat a bit of a pat. It's like riding a horse.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you win. Now here we go in the race for
You can
silver.
see she caught up quite a bit to Garrow.
She has, and she's still trying to get there, but there's still about 100 metres to go, I think. So Garrow holding on.
Yeah, I think she's just run out of
Yep.
some distance.
Yep. But wonderful to see this paddler from Argentina. She's not leaving anything to chance now, digging really, really deep. She's worked hard. She's been out by herself for most of the race in second position. So
yeah, the front three, the race wasn't an exceptionally tactical one, but it was an exceptionally hard one.
yeah.
It was just a hard grind for 5Ks trying to
And you
stay
can see there Sarah Mihilik. I would
very happy.
assume that this is one of the very first medals for Finland.
Yeah, they haven't medalled at this World Cup at all.
But maybe even longer.
Maybe
it's
longer.
maybe we'll find out from Sarah later on the significance of that. But I'm not sure that Finland have a lot of medals at a World Cup level previously. So congratulations to Sarah Mihalik. It's a bit of a breakthrough moment for her and
Jenny Egan.
So we're going to cross now. Let's have a listen to our gold medalist Melina Anderson talking to
Congratulations, Melina. Domination. How did it feel from the inside?
I felt good. I feel strong in this type of speed, so I'm happy with the race.
How do you feel about all these portages and such a short distance?
I don't know, I felt worse the last time. I thought it was a little bit too many on a short distance, but today I think I had a better run because I didn't have so much water in my boat. But it would definitely be more fun with a marathon boat and a pump.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Always feels a lot better when you win, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And yes, as it's just pointing out there what Esti was saying, with these races, they're heavier boats and they don't have a pump. So there's a couple of reasons why it's a little bit tougher for the paddlers in the canoe sprint 5,000 metres. But well done to Melina Anderson, gold for Sweden, silver going to Argentina, and a brave race for Maria Magdalena Garro, and a very excited Sarah Mihalik from Finland picking up the bronze medal. And again, we'll say this, Esti, just underlining how truly international canoe sprint is as a sport when you have Finland, Argentina, and of course Sweden picking up the medals. Wonderful result. But then again, we're also seeing how strong those Nordic countries are, those Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, in the longer distances, they definitely have amazing.
Esti, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry we had to drag you away from your ice cream. You've earned yourself a second one, though. Go and treat yourself. Tell them I said it was okay. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Have a safe trip back to South Africa.
Thank you very much.
And a good preparation, and hopefully we'll see you in Duisburg.
Yeah, definitely.
And getting there in the mood and in the zone for qualifying for Paris next year. But it's been really fascinating having you as part of the team, and we really appreciate it. And I know the listeners at home have really enjoyed your insights as well. So thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
Esti Holliver, who has been commentating with us today. Always wonderful to get the insights of athletes who've been out there, and they know not only how to do the sport, but they know the personalities as well. So wonderful to see the smiling, well, I was going to say the smiling face of Melina Anderson, but that was pretty hard work. In just a moment, we'll be back for the men's K1 5000. Thank you for joining us for this is the final medal event of the weekend, and I've got to say that on paper it's looking like a fantastic race. We've got the men's K1 5000. Stuart Bristow has joined me in the commentary box again, and Stuart, you've got a couple of Brits in there, but there's some very interesting paddlers contesting for this gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, there's some real strong athletes in here. We've got Mads Pedersen, Lindberg from Sweden, Fernando Pimenta, They've all had some hard racing this weekend, so it'll be interesting who's got something left in the tank.
I'm really hoping that that Fernando Pimenta can keep his boat together, because unfortunately in Szeged he busted his rudder and he pulled out, and it really left Mads Pedersen by himself for the majority of the race. I think if these two can keep their boats intact, it could be a fantastic performance between the pair of them. They're so used to racing each other now, not just at 5,000, but in marathon racing as well. They had a fantastic battle last year in Portugal, and they're underway now, and it is a really big mass start. And look at that, there's a lot of people jostling there for the lead, because you want to be near the front, because if you're near the midfield, when you get to that first portage, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, it's so rough, sort of a couple meters back from those front groups with all the wash. It's really hard to catch back up if you've fallen off. So I think they'll all try and stay on that front group into the first portage.
So Pimenta out where he so often wants to be, leading this field. Now, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but over the previous couple of years, his portages have left a little bit to be desired. I think if you were following him, if you were Mads Pedersen at the moment, or Joachim Lindberg, you'd think, okay, I'm not going to panic because he might bugger up his portage. So at this stage, you probably wouldn't panic too much. So let's see if we can see who's up there in that lead group. Where are your British boys? Anyone up there in that first group you can spot? Stuart?
I saw Matt Johnson hanging on there. I think James Russell is on the right. They're still on the group, but a few washes back. Everyone's getting squeezed around this first turn. I think that's Vold on Pimenta's wash there, first wash.
Yep. The Vold brothers, of course, very, very formidable paddlers. I think there's only the one Vold in this race, yes.
It looks like both.
Are they both in there?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Yep. Jean and Elvin Vold both racing here today. So that is, and it looks like the German, that must be Nico Paufler, who's up there as well. He was very good for a lot of the race last week. We're coming down now to the first portage. This will be the most difficult of all the portages, because there's quite a big group. And I know that Pimenta in the back of his mind will know what happened last week. He will know what happened here in Poznan last year when he made an absolute mess. He still managed to go on and win, but it was one of the most underwhelming portages that I've ever had the great misfortune to watch in the history of canoe marathon.
Yeah, he also got unlucky a few weeks ago in Szeged.
Yep.
Having a swim around the turn cans, so it looks like he's got away clean here.
He's looking good at this stage. And that is it. The Vold brothers, I think they're both there. And there you can see Mads Pedersen there, back in about 5th position, and Paufler, the German, sitting in 4th. So that is a quality top 5 at the moment. There's Pedersen there, getting his boat in the water. Won gold last week, of course, 2 weeks ago in Szeged. So this week he's got a bit more work to do. Last week he had the race to himself after the first portage, but this time Pimenta's managed to get in and out of the water. It's a long time, I would think, Stuart, since Fernando Pimenta has been at a World Cup event where he hasn't won a single individual gold medal. I know he won it in the mixed K2 this morning, but he had his colours lowered. He won a silver in the 1,000. He won a silver in the 500. So knowing what makes Fernando Pimenta tick, he would be very, very desperate to win a gold medal here.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about Pimenta. He's always there the whole weekend, all the way to the 5K, and he never sort of stops going. So I think he'll really want to take a win. He doesn't look like he's letting anyone take the lead in this race yet.
So Pimenta leading from the Vold brothers, Nico Paufler there, and there's Mads Pedersen just sitting back in 5th position at the moment. Looks like he might be sporting a new do after his win in 2 weeks ago. Maybe he celebrated by getting a new haircut. What, if you can't treat yourself after you've won a gold medal, when can you treat yourself, though?
Yeah, exactly. A bit more aerodynamic.
Yeah, exactly. So Pimenta out in front. I think it's Elvenvold just behind him, and then Joan Vold as well, sitting in third. So the Vold brothers are now creating a Portuguese sandwich. It's a Portuguese sandwich. So you have two slices of Norwegian bread, and then you stick a slice of Portuguese bread in the middle, and this is what you get, because that's what they've got at the moment. And then sneaking in there is Nico Paufler from Germany, and Mads Pedersen just biding his time at the moment, sitting back there in 5th position, backing himself in. You just know that at some stage he's going to make his move. He won't mind there sitting back there, although it's a little bit messy back there for him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's decided to switch sides going into the next portage.
So coming down for portage number 2. Still Pimenta in front. That's Elvenvold in front of us there. I think, are they talking? Is that the athletes we can hear talking amongst themselves, talking about which side they're going to go? I suppose there would be a little bit of that communication, would there? Would they telegraph to each other where they're going to go?
I mean, maybe the Vold brothers are having a chat.
Yeah.
Trying not to block each other at the portage. Mads is going in with 3 on the right-hand side here.
So Pimenta, here we go again. Let's see how he goes this time. He's in and out. He's got the chance to knock someone over here, but he doesn't take that opportunity. He's through there. He's got the Norwegians, and Pedersen looks like he's moved ahead of Paufler, the German. So let's see how they go getting into the water. So Pimenta in first. John Vold next to him. Elvenvold over the other side of the pontoon. Pedersen is now in, but he's got a little bit of traffic jam there, and Paufler now slipping back into 5th position, but there is not much. Oh, in fact, Paufler looks like he's had some trouble. Looks like Nico Paufler's rudder may have gone. We'll try and see in a moment, but he looks like he had a bit of trouble there. Pimenta now looking over his shoulder. So suddenly we're down to 4. 5 has become 4, I think, unfortunately for the German Nico Paufler. There he goes there. That's him there, isn't it, I think? So he must have had some rudder issues getting back into the water. And really, with the pedigree of that top 4, your chances of getting back into that combination would be pretty slim.
Yeah, I mean, Pimenta looks like he's decided to take this race from the start to the finish. It'll be interesting to see if anyone tries to challenge him until the last lap. I'm sure Pedersen will have a go.
He's so experienced, Pedersen, and he knows his capabilities. If he's comfortable sitting there, where is he now? Looks like he's still
there
sitting.
He goes.
He's gone now around the outside, I think, Pedersen. So he's decided to put a bit of pressure on Pimenta. This is what we were hoping to see. A real battle at the front. Now, this is where mistakes can happen. Pedersen trying to get in front of Pimenta, but Pimenta does not want to give up the lead. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you would think that he'd be happy maybe just for a little while just to sit in someone else's slipstream, but look at this. They're pushing each other wide there, and the Vold brothers are trying to sneak along in the inside. So Pedersen now dropping back. Interesting that he used a lot of energy to get up there alongside Pimenta. Pimenta wouldn't let him past. And so Pedersen now just dropping back off the pace for now. As they come around this bend at the top, and now they'll straighten up and head towards the pontoon. Pimenta looks over his left shoulder. He wouldn't have seen much there because Pedersen is over his right shoulder, but I'm sure he can see the tip of his kayak. Again, he looks over his left shoulder. He needs to look over his right shoulder if he wants to give himself a bit of a scare, because that's where the challengers are. They're sitting, there he goes. He's had a sneaky look now. He's seen Pedersen's boat, I think. He knows that he's right there with him. Pedersen's switching sides now. Looks like he's going to the left. What do you think that's all about, Stuart?
I'm not sure. He did the same thing the other way on the previous lap. I think he's been watching Pimenta. Maybe he wants to get in on the other side.
So Pimenta's got the opportunity here, and it looks like he's going to take it to force Pedersen wide. let's see if he swaps sides, because the last 2 times Pimenta has gone to the right-hand side. No, he's done it again this time. He's gone to the same spot. So they're going to get out of the water almost at the same time. Pimenta out now. Pedersen.
Complete change from Pedersen.
Complete change. And, oh, look at this. They've almost come together on the pontoon. The Vold brothers are still there, but it's these 2 powerful athletes, Fernando Pimenta and Mads Pedersen. This is what we were hoping for. And it's Pedersen who gets into the water the better. Pedersen has made his move. We knew it would come at some stage. The 3rd Portage is where he's decided to really try and put this race to bed. Pimenta will not give up, though. You can see there, he's right on his tail again. But Pedersen, he will now that he's in front, you know that he will try and break this race apart.
He's done it before. He's certainly got the legs for a lot longer than 5 kilometers. So we'll just see if he has the speed to keep it away from Pimenta.
Yeah,
maintaining the gap for now, but
yeah, we need to remember Pimenta has had a big day today. He's had a lot of paddling. Pedersen, I think, has had a much smaller program than Pimenta. Will it make a difference? Pedersen trying to shake off the big Portuguese, Fernando Pimenta. Pimenta will not give up, but he will not enjoy seeing the back of Mads Pedersen's head. Because Pedersen, as Stuart said, once he gets in front, he's a very hard man to run down. We did see Andy Burkett do it in the World Games in the United States, and in fact he did it again at the World Championships, Burkett. So he's been one of the few paddlers who've been able to match it with Pedersen. When Pedersen goes for the power, there are not many other athletes out there who can go with him.
Yeah, I mean the pace of these 5Ks, it really is a sprint. It's really hard to break away. To get a half a kilometer an hour on these guys is really difficult, but the gap doesn't seem to be closing.
No. And in fact, the efficiency of Mads Pedersen going around the corner there, look at that. That is a very smooth corner. Oh, I say that, but then he crashes into a buoy, but not too much damage done there. Now look at him go. He's decided to really make a sprint towards the next portage. This will be portage number 4 for the big Dane, Mads Pedersen. He told me after Szeged that his goal this year, he really wanted to, and he still wants to make a mark on the 1,000 and try and get qualification for the Olympics. He was a bit disappointed with his performance in the K1 1000 there. He hadn't given up, but he sort of felt that maybe, you know, the Marathon World Championships would have to be his main focus this year, but I think his 1,000 here was a little bit better. But I suspect that, I mean, he's just so good at the 5,000 and so good at the marathon. Look at that, sweet. Oh, got a little bit of water there, not too much to worry about, but he's got time. Now, what can Pimenta do? Has he got any tricks up his sleeve to try and bridge this gap? It'll be a huge performance for Fernando Pimenta to come back now. There's only one more portage to go. So, Fernando Pimenta, not a great place to be, looking at Mads Pedersen pulling away from you with 2 more laps to go. Doesn't look tired at all, does he?
He's certainly determined to get away, and so far he seems to have done it.
So Pedersen is first, Pimenta's second. We haven't had an update on the 3rd position. I assume it's one of the Vold brothers sitting in 3rd position. That is Mads Pedersen there. He would need to do something very crazy from here on in to lose this gold medal right now. It's been a very impressive performance. I like his boat. I like the paintwork. It sends a message, doesn't it, Stuart? It sends a message to the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Here is a man who means business. Look at the gap now that's opened up. Fernando Pimenta has been blown away by the power of this young man. I still remember the first time I saw him paddling on the international stage. It was in China back in, I think it was 2018 at the Marathon World Championships. And within the space of 24 hours, he won not only the under-23 men's marathon world title, he came out the next day and won the senior.
Yeah, I mean, that was an unbelievable performance. I lived with Mads in 2017. He came to Pietermaritzburg in South Africa,
okay,
for a training camp, and I mean the mileage, it's just you can't compare.
Was he an annoying housemate, or is there any secrets you can give us? Did he put the toilet seat down when he was finished? And
great housemate. Fortunately, we didn't share a bathroom, so
that's good.
Don't have to comment on that.
No, good. He looks like the sort of guy who'd be very neat and tidy.
Yeah.
He's very neat and tidy in his action, and I'm sure that's reflected in his home life as well. I'm sure he puts the dishes in the sink when he's finished eating, puts the toilet seat down, hangs the towels up after a shower. Looks like that sort of efficiency, that sort of decent housemate that you'd like to have. So did you train with him in Pietermaritzburg, Stuart, or?
Yeah, it was the year that the Marathon World Championships were in Pietermaritzburg, so they came out for, I think it was 8 months.
Yep.
And we did some training together while they were training for marathons. At that stage, he hadn't really broken into sprint yet, so it's good to see him really making inroads into the sprint team.
So that would have been, he would have still been a junior then, almost, wouldn't he? 2017 would it have been?
Yeah, I think we're around the same age. So yeah, junior, just getting into under 23.
Yep. So here he comes down for the final portage of this men's K1 5000. It's going to be back-to-back World Cup gold medals for Mads Brandt Pedersen from Denmark. Fernando Pimenta, I think, knows that there's nothing he can do now. He can't make up this distance. Pedersen taking no chances, slides back into the boat and off he goes. He'll get the sound of the bell in his ears in just a moment. He's going to lap a couple of paddlers as well. And there's Fernando Pimenta. He tried hard, he put down the challenge, he tried to make it hard for Pedersen, but in the end it was that third portage, I think it was, wasn't it? Portage number 3, where Pedersen made the decisive move. So Mads Pedersen has a... I mean, the only thing that could go wrong here is if a couple of these slower boats in front of him causes him some issues, but Pedersen's too experienced for that. He'll stay right out of their way. Is there etiquette? What's the etiquette here, Stuart? Do they have to get out of the way?
Yeah, I think they'll certainly get out of the way, especially since it's the last lap. I don't think Mads will be looking for a wash at this stage, so I think he'll just cruise right by them. You can see them here on the outside.
So we have Tanada from Japan, and in a moment we'll see who the other athlete is that Pedersen is coming up alongside. Haven't seen the British boys for a little while. Are they travelling all right, or we can't see them?
I think that Matt Johnson's just gone through the portage now, so he's a little bit further behind. I know James Russell looks like he's in 6th position.
Okay. That's a good result.
Yeah, decent result. I think he's also going for the Marathon World Champs later this year, so this will be a good taster. So
always very, very funny, always very amusing when you come up to lap someone and they try and keep pace with you. It's not amusing at all. If you're the leader and they're getting in your way and just being annoying, it can be quite frustrating. But now he's moved past the stragglers, and now has clear water between himself and the finish line for Mads Brandt Pedersen. Has a look over his shoulder. Fernando Pimenta is a speck in the distance. Don't do, and just has another look just to make sure, but he's got this under control. Oh, and another look as well. Maybe you can't spot him, but he's there. He's well back. And Mads Brandt Pedersen. It'll be fascinating to see this year where he ends up. I mean, we hope that the young man can get a decent crack at maybe trying to get to the Paris Olympics. He's still young though. He's got plenty of opportunities in front of him.
Yeah, he's got some more years in him yet, and obviously when you're competing with René Poulsen for that 1,000-meter spot, it's no easy task, but he's certainly coming through strong.
So Pedersen now coming down to the finish line. I thought he was looking up to find where everyone else was, but I think he was looking up at the big screen, just making sure that everything was in place. You don't want, the last thing you want is like have boogers on your face or something like that when you're coming down to the finish line. He's just making sure now with the tongue he's got no boogers. I don't want boogers on under my nose.
Smiling for the camera.
Smiling for the camera. There's Pimenta. He's had a long, tough weekend, Fernando Pimenta. He's going to take another silver medal home. It'll be his 3rd silver for the weekend. But congratulations, Mads Pedersen. Yep, you are the champion. No doubt about that. You are the World Championship favourite for sure for later this year. Pimenta just making sure nobody's going to sneak up on him as he comes down now for another silver medal for the big Portuguese rock star. Comfortably in 2nd. We haven't seen who is in 3rd. It was one of the Vold. Right, there we go. Is that 3rd now, crossing line? It looks like it might be John Vold, is it?
There's a race for 4th.
A very good race for 4th as well.
The other Vold brother, Great Britain.
Yep.
And then Lindberg from Sweden.
So Mads Pedersen just reminding us all what an outstanding athlete he is, what a champion he is. And in just a moment we'll get his reflections on his gold medal performance.
Okay, Mads, congratulations. So cruel pace. How was it from the inside?
Yeah, it was burning a bit in the lungs. From the beginning, I didn't have the best positions coming into the Portage. Hold on. And I just tried to stay calm, and when I had my chance, I went, and then I could stay in front alone, and for me, it suited me perfectly. It was what I had tried to plan with my coach, but it's something else to do it, and it's a bit wavy out there, so that it succeeded, and I won the World Cup on the 5K again this weekend. It's just nice.
Was it the plan all along to break away at some point from the group?
It was what I wanted to try, but of course, this is some very strong competitors, so it's not something you can just plan and do. Sometimes you also have to be lucky, and today it just went to plan, so that was awesome.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I don't think there's a lot of luck involved. You look at him, and you were saying, Stuart, early on, how he looked to be in control, even though he was sitting, there was that front group of 5, he was sitting at the back, but you knew that he was just sussing out the opponents, working out their strengths and weaknesses, and just thinking ahead to when might be the best time to pounce.
Yeah, I think you can see at the start he sort of was at the back of the group, but he wouldn't have wanted to waste all his energy, sitting on a fit wash, trying to take the lead. So he just lay in wait, and then after that 3rd portage, he just broke away.
And you can see there early on, Pedersen back at the tail of that group. He tried to challenge on the 3rd lap. This is where he tried to challenge on the outside of Pimenta. Pimenta wouldn't let him get past him, and we now know why, because Pimenta knew that if Pedersen got in front of him, that the race would be over, and this is where it happened. The 3rd portage, look at that, the efficiency of Mads Pedersen to get into that kayak and get away, and within the blink of an eye, there was a 20-meter gap there between Mads Pedersen and Fernando Pimenta. Pimenta tried valiantly to stay alongside the young Dane, but really the race was gone at that stage.
Yeah, I mean, that Portage, he was almost still standing up when he took the first stroke. Just, yeah, really, really efficient.
So back-to-back World Cup gold medals for Mads Pedersen. Back-to-back gold medals earlier today for Balázs Adolf as well from Hungary. Melina Andersson taking a very, very impressive gold in the women's K1. And in the women's C1, it was a very impressive race for China. There we go, confirmation. The earlier results from today. Yin Wan taking the women's C1 gold medal ahead of her teammate Li Li. She pounced on the final lap after Li Li had led for the entire race. And Wan not sharing any of the lead responsibilities until the final lap, and managed to hold it together and race away. Balázs Adolf, back-to-back gold medals for him. He also had an interesting duel with Matthias Borgiel from Poland. But as with Mads Pedersen, when Balázs Adolf decided to go, he went. And Borgiel could not keep pace. Carlo Tacchini from Italy picking up another medal for the weekend. It's been a very successful weekend for him. Bowen Jai got disqualified from China. Okay, wasn't aware of that, but because he was up there in the lead group there for a while, so he ended up being disqualified. Just wait now if we get Melina Andersson. Look at that gap, 46 seconds, Stuart.
Unbelievable race. I was watching it from the stands. So dominant.
Just incredible for this young lady from Sweden. A very brave race for Maria Garro from Argentina, and a lot of celebrations for Sarah Mihalak from Finland for her medal today, and she seemed to be over the moon with that result. And down there to the Uzbeki paddler there, finishing in 14th spot. Katerina Peksakova was up there early, but obviously fell away as the race progressed. And just confirming now the results for the men. We know Mads Brandt Pedersen from Denmark took the gold. Fernando Pimenta from Portugal took the silver. We're waiting for clarification, for confirmation on who took the bronze. It was one of the Vold brothers. We're pretty certain about that. I thought it was John Vold, but we'll wait for the official judge's word on who took the bronze medal. But while we're waiting for that, Stuart, it wraps up a pretty successful World Cup. Your thoughts on the 5,000?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really competitive event. It's always great to finish off the weekend with a 5,000. It's a lot more canoeing, a lot longer race. A lot can happen. It's good to see the athletes sort of put to the test with their tactics, and after a long weekend of racing, it's no easy feat to race that hard for 20 minutes.
Thank you, Stuart. Let's catch you again soon, everybody.